Are you struggling to care for a loved one who has a diagnosis of memory loss, Alzheimer's, or dementia? Many times, responding to the behaviors of someone with a memory loss diagnosis can be very challenging for the caregiver, especially if you know very little about Alzheimer's or dementia. I'm Pamela D Wilson. Stay with me for the caregiving chat of the day. Today we're going to talk about responding to behaviors. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. There's information there, help, hope, and support for caregivers. Also in this video post, there is a link to my radio show this Wednesday night. I'll be talking to a geriatric doctor about medications that can help with behaviors and anxiety for the elderly. And this is a much debated subject because most doctors, regular primary care doctors and others, don't have the skills to provide the right medication recommendations for your elderly parents or a spouse. So let's talk about behaviors. Your loved one may be anxious. They may refuse to take medications, refuse to bathe, refuse to eat, actually refuse to do just about anything. And you want to pull your hair out. They also may have behaviors that are aggressive or angry or repetitive, paranoid, suspicious. They may think that you're stealing things from them, or their days and their nights may be reversed and they're awake all night when you want to sleep and sleeping all day when you're awake. What causes these behaviors? It's a number of things, but mostly it's a disconnect in the brain because their brain does not function like our brain because of their diagnosis. Many family members will actually take this personally. I have had children say to me, "Oh, Mom is just trying to drive us crazy." It's not that Mom is trying to drive you crazy. It's that Mom can't remember. It's like there is a short circuit in Mom or Dad's brain or a spouse's brain that prevents them from understanding, behaving, communicating like they previously did before this diagnosis. Or they may be having these behaviors and you don't even realize it's related to memory loss. Then it's important to seek a diagnosis. So, reasons for behaviors: being too tired, being exhausted, not feeling well, and being unable to explain to you what's wrong. Overstimulation, too much noise, too many people, too large of a space, music playing very loudly. All of these can be too much for the brain of a person who has memory loss. You talking too fast, giving too many instructions. Many times as memory loss progresses, the person with the disease can't remember the beginning of your sentence by the time you get to the end. Their memory is so short, it's seconds. And many times they repeat information, which I know can drive you crazy. How do you manage that? You redirect the subject. Ask them about what they're talking about. So for example, Mom or Dad say, "I want to go home," but they don't realize that they are home. What would you say? You could say, "Gosh, Mom, what do you remember most about your home? What do you love about the home?" So in a sense, you're staying on the same subject, but you're redirecting the conversation to ask them other questions. You can also say, "Oh, Mom, I'll take you home after we have dinner." So in a sense, you're redirecting the conversation from going home when your parent is home to after dinner, we'll talk more about this. There are many tools that caregivers of people with Alzheimer's can learn to use. The big one is redirection. The next one is what I call confabulation. And this is not making a big deal about small things. So for example, we know this is a pen, we write with this, but if your loved one thinks that this is an apple for an orange. Who cares? Don't make a big deal about it. You don't want to argue about things that are only going to cause them more upset and more grief. If they confuse you for your brother or sister, again, don't make a big deal about it. Just say, hey, Mom, I'm Debbie, I'm Mary, and go on. The biggest thing is not to feel like you have to correct them or bring them back to your reality, because they are living in a different reality. We want to make things as comfortable for our loved ones who have memory loss and dementia as possible. And this is where I'll talk about medications for a moment. This Wednesday night on my radio show, Dr. Neha Jain is going to join us from the University of Connecticut healthcare system. And she is an expert on talking about medications and which ones are appropriate for older adults with depression, with memory loss, with anxiety. Again, this is a much debated subject. Some doctors don't feel like older people should have medications at all. My belief from the 20 years of being a caregiving advocate is, if medications can help and if we can find the right medication, use it. Because let me ask you this question. How do you feel when you're stressed, anxious, depressed, upset? Does that feel good? No, it doesn't. So how could it possibly be good to let our elderly parent or spouse or a loved one continuously feel that way if there are other solutions? Join me for the radio program this Wednesday night. You'll find answers to this and many more questions. I'm Pamela D Wilson. My website is PamelaDWilson.com. Check it out for information about caregiving, caring for elderly parents, yourself, spouses, Alzheimer's, dementia, and many other subjects. I'll see you tomorrow in another video.